right, so this was a build-around submission for Grand Plaza Riven, I believe, if I recall correctly. So the Grand Plaza new landmark that seems very powerful. So whenever an ally is summoned, give it 1/1 and Challenger this round, so it can force something to block it. And with Grand Plaza here, this Challenger on random things is very good with things that have quick attack explicitly. So a natural champion to pair with Plaza felt like Lucian. Good cheap unit that can quick attack. And when Lucian's leveled, he lets you rally, and rally gives you an attack token, so Lucian technically synergizes with Riven as well, who lets us reforge whenever we gain the attack token. Lucian obviously comes with Senna, which is another good, efficient, quick attack card that's good with Plaza. One kind of cheeky card I have in here that may or may not be good is I'm playing a set of Green Fang Warden, which seems very, very good with Plaza. Playing this out as a 3/3 with Barrier, similar to why Quick Attack is good. You just get to get in, kill something, and then get in again, because it has Scout also. So with Plaza out, Green Fang Warden can basically be a double piece of removal the turn you play it, which seems very, very good. Again, because we're playing a noxious, aggressively slanted deck, I've got a couple of Captain Fair on here at the top end of the curve for some extra closing power alongside Elmheart, but for the most part, this is again another pretty efficient, low to the ground aggressive deck. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this one and see how it feels. Hey, Wisey, thank you for the half a year. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. Bought in Aurelia, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. It felt good, Vector Fiction. Felt like it had a sweet low curve and a proactive game plan. With a touch of interaction. Ezreal Elise. I think I actually want to keep Green Fang Warden here with the Plaza and see how that goes. I'm going to mulligan. Mulliganing Riven might seem a little bit odd, but I just have so many 3s. I want to try and find some 1s and 2s here to curve into. Call me Card. Welcome to the channel. I'm going to save Lucian for post-Plaza. Something that's interesting about Grand Plaza is that this is a card that makes us want to attack on evens, right? Because we play this on their 3, and then on our 4, we play something and give it Challenger.
We could use a bite.
That egg, did it move?
Quite the dish, aren't you?
We protect these woods as they protect us. Smell something.
We must all make sacrifices. So young.
I think if they pass, I'm just going to pass back here. Am I going to foil any cards? I'm waiting to find out if they're going to give LPP free essence before I put any currency into it. My Riot contact said they were finding out. Disconnect maybe.
souls is my duty.
It'll be the first thing I foil when it's so. Well, I mean, if they're gonna give us essence, I'll just foil everything. Yes, all of it.
Dog.
My favorite non-champion card? I don't know if I have a good answer to that offhand. Let's go with the 6-mana Bilgewater card. The 6-mana Bilgewater card's been gasoline. The elusive. The burbly fish or whatever it's called. Horrible fish, that one. Giving all of our stuff Challenger helps level Lucian as well, because we can force blocks. So I think I'm just banking the rest of this. We're going to burn 1 mana here, but then next turn I can go triple 2-drop. And they'll all have Challenger. We'll be able to attack into their board, which is great. This is Hexcore Foundry is a card I need to try in Draven or Elise Ezreal.
Coming in hot! Fuse his legs! Push back the darkness.
It's a common landmark. It is a rare landmark, technically.
Who's gonna get in my way?
Unfortunately for our opponent, our deck has a very low curve, so like we're gonna be able to play into this Hexcore Foundry pretty easily. My opponent has notably played 2 copies of Go Hard so far, so we could be getting close to getting told to pack our bags.
Lady Elise, where are you?
Why are you?
These hands know metal and magic.
I'd follow you anywhere.
Of course you would.
There was a little fella asking for me.
What's a warrior but hands to wield a weapon? The heart and mind to aim its strike.
There they go.
Got your back!
You don't understand how Riven levels. The reforge mechanic is how Riven levels. Let me demonstrate. So, when you play all 3 blade fragments, you reforge the blade. And then when the blade is in your hand, Riven levels up.
There's still much to answer for.
Please, I have connections! You have to get me out of here!
What's your hurry?
Would a mushroom help?
I'd say it wasn't worth it.
Too damn soon.
Alright, down to 5. They're at a virtual 3 with these. And they're dead if they pack my bags this turn, because pack my bags here will level Lucian and then allow him to rally. And then he's going to survive because of his barrier. So they need like Vile Feast or Mystic Shot into pack your bags. They could kill me. Or they could kill my board, not even me, but like I have cards to rebuild next turn.
I thought you'd never ask.
He will rally Innuendo, yeah. They die going down the line. So he levels up mid things dying, I'm pretty sure.
We're gonna need more coffins.
They don't know what they're up against.
Okay, we could theoretically die to Ezreal here. Hey, Bitterblade. Thank you for the Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. Are those good draws, chat? If so, why? Please explain. Yeah, Sharp Sight hopefully means we're not dead to the Ezreal. They're good because Lucio is Naruto running, and we all know that's the fastest way to run. Could be dead to Ezreal here. This is 5.
If you could back it up.
Back with your yapping.
I assume these are lethal. Oh, Pack's a real offensive card. Very, very good against decks that want to play to the board. It's just so incredibly resource efficient. I don't know if I'm strong. I'm sold on Foundries. In that archetype. Yeah, that sounds like an accurate descriptor, right, Liquid? full mulligan here, looking for cheaper things / plaza. Perfect. Morning Destroyer. Opponent's champions say aggro, but their curve so far does not.
Coming in hot!
Nice, Destroyer. Welcome to Runeterra. Game's a lot of fun. These have challengers, so you get to draw this in, so you get to smack over here. Interesting, I'm not quite sure what our opponent's deck is doing. So, Lulu Zoe, Lulu especially would imply something aggressive to me, but Concussive Palm says they're something more controlling, perhaps?
I bear a message from... Oh, hey, what's that?
Making
That's true. So far they are just getting attacked for a bunch. But I just read on Reddit that mid-range is dead.
Sentinels of light don't fear the dark.
Yeah, it could just be some kind of elusive aggro deck. I'm gonna go ahead and Bright Steel here, so this can challenge Zoe and not die. Is Gangplank still good? Yeah, I think Gangplank's fine. If you want a more controlling Gangplank deck, I have a Gangplank Swain deck up on my website that I think is very reasonable. If you want a more aggressive Gangplank deck, there is a what's it called? There is a Pirate aggro deck that's still reasonably competitive. Is Swain GP the boat control? Yeah, kinda. We ended up cutting the Dreadwave for Captain Phalanx. It's just a better card, but it's that same core of the boat control deck we had played with before, yeah. They do, Bib. And I understand how that goes. Alright, Mono Anivia. So, control deck. Grizzled Ranger is great because it generates value. I'm going to keep Riven. Perfect. There's a 2-drop. It looks pretty reasonable here. Perfect. Fantastic curve here. You had a half hour on pajama day.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I mean, the reason why the new Daybreak card, nobody's really talking about it, is because it doesn't really go into any new archetypes. So, like, that card's great. Okay, boys, Daddy's working right now. I need you guys to get out of my office, please, okay? We can play the game later, okay?
both broken.
Yeah, it's like a plenty playable card. It just like only goes in like Leona decks. In fact, the Leona Asol deck we're gonna play as the last deck today is playing some copies of that card. Yeah, yeah. Like I'm gonna play a Daybreak deck in the event tomorrow. Although I don't know if that card fits into the Leona Swing deck. That's rude. Yeah, the Invoke deck is super reasonable, the Invoke control deck. If they have another Avalanche, they'll block here. I have a Sharp Sight to be able to save Riven from a deal 2 next turn at least.
What's that noise?
All of these combat tricks are not what we're looking to draw here. What kind of event is it? Riot is hosting a tournament for LPP members tomorrow. Runeterra streamers that play in, that are a part of the League Partner Program. Oh, wow. Okay, Black Spear is not a card I was playing around. Probably gonna be dead here. Really need to draw, like, a Captain Baron ASAP to have a shot, I think. Our archetype doesn't have, like, real card advantage in it. Why block there? Because I was expecting Avalanche. Not Black Spear.
Here in your time of need, making the dead deader. I will endure.
I guess maybe I shouldn't blade proactively there. Next turn's the Rekindler turn. So, like, they want their Anivia to die.
Come on in.
Okay, no Rekindler. No Rekindler is big game for us.
When will I find peace?
And now the question I have to ask myself is, are we going to be in a position to beat a Ruination? To which I think the answer is no. I think we have to play Go Fish here. Unfortunately.
I sense their power. I am reformed.
You know, they have Harsh Winds from the Entreat Egg.
You cannot break what is already
The egg is... The egg's not Anivia, is that true? Does the egg make Anivia Harsh Winds? I didn't think that was true. Is that accurate? It does. Okay, that's good to know. So far this feels like another bad Demacia aggro deck. I'm really not a fan of what Demacia aggro does in this game. I keep the backup Riven here. This is usually a mid-range deck. The egg has to die before it's second to make me play. That's good to know. How about Grand Plaza? That felt okay when we had it. Yeah, I've been a fan of bigger Demacia decks. Okay, so they are not mid-range, they are an aggro deck.
Don't get in my way.
Probably discard aggro, eschewing Jinx for Riven? Is that real? What are the most OP cards of this expansion? What if I told you there aren't OP cards and the designs seem to be well balanced so far?
To serve the greater good.
What if I also told you it's been less than 48 hours since the set released, and we probably still need to play more games before we figure out what cards are good and bad? This is why my YouTube content never takes off, chat. I have moral qualms with clickbaiting bullshit.
The power of progress.
Ha! That's cute.
Without pause.
Yeah, no joke, innuendo. The express purpose of my secondary YouTube channel is so I can put clickbait bullshit on there to try and get more views and generation on that platform. That is the express reason that I created my second YouTube channel. So I can keep the one that I've had for years that my current audience appreciates that isn't nonsense and BS like that. But maybe cultivate something more on YouTube as a platform. Because YouTube doesn't reward consistency and accuracy. It rewards clickbaits and nonsense. Nah, I'm not super worried about my life total. And with the Plaza in play, I'm gonna get to kill their cat this turn anyway, so I think that's fine.
Cost of war.
I'm gonna go ahead and kill their elusives here.
They will reclaim.
Yeah, I honestly think it's gonna take people coming from other card games a lot of time to adjust to how Runeterra does stuff, because other card games, this isn't a Hearthstone thing or a Magic thing, it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh thing, it's an all card games thing up until this point. Other card games constantly invalidate their existing cards with power creep when they release a new set. And so far, Runeterra has done a stellar job of just creating interesting, different designs that are just neat to play, that aren't strictly better or strictly worse than the other things that already exist. Gangleno, thanks for the follow. IDK Rand, thanks for the follow. How long can they keep that up for? Who knows? Probably indefinitely.
Frown too much.
So one of the things that's important to understand is that other card games have a financial incentive to constantly invalidate their previous card sets, because other card games primarily monetize by fleecing you with booster packs, whereas Runeterra is a card game that's looking to primarily monetize. I'm gonna make a blade this turn, actually. Whereas Runeterra is a game that's looking to primarily monetize via cosmetics. And that dynamic is different and important.
Make these pieces whole. There's still much to answer for.
I still have Sharp Sight up here to protect from some direct damage.
I know my purpose.
I think Runeterra occupies a very unique space in terms of card games, in large part because of the financial incentives attached to how they're structured their economy. I think a lot of people underestimate how much the card game design in other games is impacted by the economies that those games choose to implement and utilize.
I didn't do nothing.
Yes, Runeterra will eventually have a rotation. They've not given us details of what that rotation is going to look like or when exactly it's going to happen, but it is confirmed from Riot people that a rotation will happen at some point. Gangle Node and Rond, thanks for the follows. If you're still here, welcome to the channel. Nah, that was press and pick. That was an accurate shin. Rotation. For people that are new to card games, what rotation means is eventually there will be enough cards in Runeterra that there will be one format that has all of the cards ever created legal in it, and there will be a second, smaller format that only has most recent cards in it. Yes. Yeah, like Hearthstone Wild. And rotation is a dirty word in a lot of other card games because of their economic model, because a lot of other card games leave their non-rotating formats to rot and be unappealing because those formats don't make the companies money directly. So again, because there's not that financial incentive attached to card packs, rotation and getting new cards in Runeterra is reasonable and accessible. The rotation and everything surrounding it in Runeterra could look very different coming from other card games. Misfortune. So Scouts aggro. Honestly, this whole hand seems great. I'm gonna look in the Bright Steel. Look for a 1 or a 4. All three of the new champions have felt sweet walking, dude. I would recommend watching some games. I've played sets with every champion at this point. Take a peek at how the different things play out, and then estimate for yourself which one you enjoy. I personally find Zoe to be my favorite of the three, but that's because of the types of play patterns she generates. Unlike the previous expansion for Runeterra, where like Shyvana was a bit weak to start, all three of the champions in this release feel like they're pretty reasonable.
These hands know metal and magic.
Ye started without me.
Yeah, I would, from a personal speculation standpoint, the earliest I expect Runeterra to have a rotation is spring of 2022. Because I would imagine they don't want to have a rotation until they have all 10 regions in the game at the earliest.
You're covered.
What's a warrior for hands to wield a weapon? The heart and mind to aim its strike.
So, to be a little bit of a pedantic card game player for a minute,
No looking back.
I think calling the Kench Soraka deck linear is an incredible misnomer. The Kench Soraka deck is pretty frustrating to play against, but it's frustrating to play against explicitly because it's incredibly interactive, and it stops your interaction from interacting with them. A lot of card game players often equate this deck feels bad to play against to this deck isn't interactive, and that just really isn't the case. In fact, quite the opposite. As someone who has a lot of experience from Magic, some of the things that feel the most toxic in card games are things that are too interactive. They're things that literally every action you play gets invalidated. When you play it, your game plan is all. That's really just not like. Maybe you don't understand what the word linear means, but that it's not like what Kench Soraka is not a linear deck. Burn is a good example of a linear deck. Linear decks are decks that try to ignore the opponent and just execute their game plan. Kench, while being frustrating to play against frequently, is very explicitly a champion that is super interactive. He interacts with the opponent every single turn. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and kill their smaller things here.
I'll stop you.
And again, I am not talking to this card feels good or bad to play against, because I think a lot of the time Kench feels bad to play against, but feeling bad to play against is different than it being linear and not interactive. Kench is very much not trying to ignore the opponent.
Nothing gets between me and my mark.
Correct. Yeah, exactly, Monetous Fool. Magic has a ton of examples of cards that are super interactive and suck to play against. Why did I change from Magic to Runeterra? Because Runeterra is a better card game. The core rules design of Runeterra is better than the core rules of Magic the Gathering, in my opinion. The way Riot manages Runeterra as a game is also far superior to how Wizards of the Coast manages Magic as a game. Riot is incredibly transparent and communicates well with the player base and does frequent balance updates and changes, which is the exact polar opposite of what Wizards does in those respects. See if they have combat tricks of their own here. Notably, they do not have a riposte man available. They could have had a sharp sight of their own there. I mean, it's not even just strictly, why do you think Runeterra is taking so long to grow? Let me counter your question with a question. Why do you think Runeterra is not growing at a good rate? Card game players and people in general, you don't just snap your fingers and instantly become Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering. Hearthstone's existed for 7 years, chat. Magic the Gathering's existed for 26 years. Runeterra is doing very well and is growing at a reasonable rate. It just doesn't instantly become the most popular game that's ever existed. That's just not how this industry works.
I write the rules of power.
People have very unrealistic expectations of how a game is supposed to instantly happen. Especially in this genre, right? Like the ceiling on a card game is lower than the ceiling on something like Valorant or Fortnite.
The power of the written word.
For people that are new to this channel, and you're wondering what my credentials are to say the things that I say here, in addition to producing content as a full-time job for almost 3 years, I've been streaming for 7 years. I have a master's degree in mathematics. I have a very analytical brain. I've churned through a lot of this data. I understand the data that I'm churning through. I spent a lot of time doing data analysis in this industry to try and figure out the best ways to grow my content and approach things.
Fortune favors the bold. The ocean is no place for the weak.
I play okay games too. Before I streamed Magic as a job, I traveled playing on their circuits professionally for a little bit.
Alright, let's miss some.
What you're saying is I am not a medical doctor. That is accurate. Yeah, Arabert, surviving is a big part of. Also, like, I've heard people talk about, like, in terms of, like, what Riot has done for esports stuff already. Like, I would just like to point out Riot's very first draft of Runeterra esports literally involves $500,000 in tournaments. Their first just like, this is what we're doing to start. There's no worlds, there's no connecting events. Just the first set of completely seasonal tournaments is just, yeah, here's a cool $500,000. Go nuts. Well, here's the other thing, Weg. And this is something a lot of people don't understand, is that a lot of people think that Runeterra has to cannibalize these other games to be successful. There are so many people in the world interested in playing games. In order for Runeterra to be successful, Magic and Hearthstone don't have to fail, chat. It's very possible for people to enjoy multiple games at the same time. That's okay. Any creature. Alright, that's, well, you know, it's technically what I asked for. This'll kill Misfortune at least. Yeah, and honestly, what Preywait said there is true, and this is one of the reasons why I think Runeterra is positioned to be a good game, is that I think objectively speaking, card games as they mature appeal to older people more than younger people. That's just how this genre works. And as people who were younger at one point that played games like Valorant and like League of Legends that use the same IP of this get older, they're gonna look for games that are turn-based like this to still enjoy that same IP and characters from those other games. And one of the reasons why Runeterra is positioned to gain an audience too is that it can pull from places that other card games just can't because of that. Wow, that is, yep, that happens. Someone asked, what will fail first, Hearthstone or Magic? Probably neither. Both of those games are huge, made by huge companies. They are likely too big to ever fail, regardless of what they do. Yeah, I think we're dead here at this point. We didn't get to kill Misfortune, so we're just gonna die to her leveling up. Hey, thanks for the 3/4 of a year, Cellform. I appreciate you dropping off the Prime. Welcome back. There's probably a good chance I dip back into a little bit of Arena when their new set releases at the end of January, but not before then. Based on the feedback of the last sub survey, I'll probably poke at that. But that's a ways off yet. Another 6 weeks still. Yeah, Riot just announced we're gonna have a League MMO. Sounds exciting. Victor Zoe. I'm gonna mulligan all of this top end looking for Plaza and a 2-drop. Got half of it. What's the data on the sub-survey that has me interested in poking at MTGA again? 35% of people that are still subs said they're interested in Magic content, and 10% of people that are still subbed to my channel said that they were primarily still subbed, hoping that it comes back at some point. So those are pretty big metrics. We'll see. A lot can change in 6 weeks, but at this current point in time, I'm probably gonna poke back in with their new set drops. So no 2-drop here feels a little bit bad, but attacking on evens is nice for us. We will get to go Plaza into Grizzled Ranger, which is great. Yep, Runeterra came out in April 30th of 2020 as an official release. Even if you count open beta as the start date, January 24th, 2020, it's not even a year old. It's super accurate.
Like this.
Go down, will you?
Yeah, they have Valorant doesn't use the League IP, but that's a Riot game.
Color is off.
The fact that it doesn't use the League IP, I think, catches some people. Huh? Alright, do I hook this then? Okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I can weapon hilt this to kill this. I haven't figured out exactly what that schedule will look like, Zip. That's a ways off at this point.
Time to get rowdy.
I agree that from a core game design perspective, Runeterra is a better game.
These jewels are more than you think.
Can we just drop Riven here?
The ties that
Get to
bind.
get our Reforge going. The Reforge keyword creates weapon fragments that once you play all 3 fragments, you get a Blade of Exile, which is a super duper power up. Gonna bank some spell mana here, I think.
Oh, gravity. Which side was upside again? Whichever way the paint drips, Zoe. Let's do it over there.
Hey, Lestro, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. So we're going up to only 6 mana here. I guess we play Grizzle. I could play Green Warden and Senna. Yeah, that's probably the play, actually.
What do you see, Lord?
And remember, the way Scout interacts with Riven is when this Scout attack happens, I'm going to get to Reforge with Riven again. Silence my Dorko, Rude.
I'm what nightmares fear.
I don't even think Runeterra is just streamlined magic. Like, as someone who's played a ton of card games, it's very clear that Runeterra was designed by industry veterans who have, like, played tons of other card games and, like, took the best parts that they liked from those other games and implemented them here.
Even a fragment.
I'm gonna give her quick attack so she can attack and not worry about trading this turn. Hook the goat here. Oh, I should technically do this way, right? So the goat doesn't give them a gem. I think I'm okay attacking this into the 4-3.
To answer for.
Cascade's really good.
This is not the way. I failed.
Perfect. Just like we drew it up, chat.
Bertrand, quickly to me.
I'm gonna need more coffee.
So do I want to play a second scout out here? I think I do, just to chew through their board, huh?
All right, let's mess some folks up.
Fly to them on broken wings. shattered hearts mend in time.
So we attack with just these here, which lets us get another attack token and reforge again here, get another blade fragment. So we got the Blade of Exile here. Alright, that's pretty good. They get to kill this before it gets to overwhelm a second time. These new things still gain Challenger when they come into play. Victor Riven was really good. Definitely a contender for the deck of the day today.
No turning back now.
Protector, shield me.
Where you find the list for this deck? You can always type ! deck in chat to get a link to our current deck list.
The future is steel and science.
Reforged, redeemed.
Yeah, Riven's a really all three of the champion designs in this set are really sweet. They all fit into a variety of decks really nicely. Riven Victor before this felt very good.
At last, a way forward.
Really good set of deck building pieces, the champions from this latest release. I have a burn list on my website. Not a dedicated burn list. The aggressive deck I would recommend in the short term is the Fearsome Aggros list, the Spooky Wraiths. That's up on my site. There are a couple of players and streamers, Swim specifically, that's been working on burn aggro, but it's definitely not an established deck as of yet. Something that's still being worked on for the most part.
Coming in hot!
I think I'm just putting down Plaza this turn. We'll open attacks to start.
River shape the land and give it life.
Yeah, but I think that deck's worse than the Fearsome Aggro deck, Logan. So Fearsome's is the one I recommend, the Wraith deck. Victor is sweet with Howling Abyss. That sounds a little win more.
When will I find peace?
Engulf them. Gift from the river folk.
Alright, let's mess some folks up.
Somebody please think of the keywords. The Plaza Riven scout curve is real sweet. To reforge our pieces here. It does guard Gray. Scout gives you an attack token, so it triggers it.
What form will the
Very, very sweet synergy. Then I get to play Fleet Feather Tracker here, so I get to try and trade this into here again. Obviously, they could have another trick, but like every time they're spending a trick, keeping their River Shaper alive, and I'm adding to my board, that's good tempo for us. Do I want to use Sharp Sight to save Riven? I think I do. It pushes extra damage here as well.
A gift from the river folk.
Finally, peace.
Any tips? Are you playing a Demacia deck? If you're playing a Demacia deck, I'd recommend playing a not Demacia deck. Frostbite's one of the natural predators to the Demacia archetype.
These hands know metal and magic.
Screeching Dragon is interesting. Usually Purushin doesn't go quite this big. I'm playing Leone Yasuo. Huh. I would think that deck would have an okay Frostbite matchup.
Push back the darkness.
Strength and grace, beauty in the blade.
Okay, so I think the plan here is... I think the plan here is basically supercharge this and this with our blades. And then we'll have Lucian hook this, and we'll attack with everything else, and hopefully that gets them low enough that Baron can end this. Yeah, our opponent has an incredible amount of card advantage, but we're ahead on board currently. So that's the advantage we want to push on. So they can have Riposte to save this and eat Lucian, but they're taking a lot of damage down here if that's the case. The single combat? Yeah, like, okay, go to 1. Yeah, like, they're going to 1 here, and I've got 2 Grenadiers in play, and I've got Captain Baron in hand, so we should be done here.
The fate of mortals and spirits falls to me.
Can dig it. Thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I think of the new emotes. They're cute. The fact that the Zoe emote isn't always the same is kind of funny. Sometimes the Zoe emote is her waving nicely, and sometimes she's sticking her fingers out like you just saw. Sometimes she does this, and sometimes she waves like the preview is. So this is a burn deck, an aggressive deck. I'm going to mulligan these, so I'm going to keep my cheap 3-power 2-drops.
Explosives prime. Come closer. I don't.
Hey, Shadow Maze, thanks for the prime. There's a lot of great people you can send that to every single month here on Twitch. Thanks for sending it my way. This emote meta is just too high variance, chat. It's no good. want to just Lucian here. I want to save the Green Fang Warden for after I have Grand Plaza. Yeah, no problem. I love always try to host other people playing the game I'm playing when I sign off.
Something for 'em. Dug on my account.
I'm just taking this trade. Alright, we're going to 10. This is like double. When you're getting out of double digits, it's like the danger zone in the burn matchup. So there's a concern we just go from 10 to nothing without them ever attacking again here. Flurry of Doom Beasts and other things. We are going to get to challenge 3 things off their board next turn, so we'll get to go Green Fang Warden, kill something, Bright Steel Protector, re-barrier this, kill 2 somethings. Hey, no problem, Ren. I'm glad folks use it. Hey, good morning, Squibfish. Thanks for the 20 months.
For the Empire.
Yep, like I mentioned earlier, we could, there's a good chance we just go from 10 to 0 here without them ever hitting us in combat again. Although, they're going to be able to hit us in combat here, right? A lot of combat tricks. This is a problem I feel like a lot of these Demacia aggro decks have. Where you just, like, end up with all these tricks in your hand and nothing meaningful to do with them. I'd rather just, like, have more things that can play to the board.
I'll stop you.
Away with you, stranger.
We're going to 2 here, which is likely death. Even if it's not death immediately, it's gonna be in the long term. Maybe. Let's try one more with this one. This deck felt okay. Hasn't been particularly special compared to the Victor Riven deck we played before this. I think I preferred the Victor Riven deck. I'm also kind of biased though. I'm not a huge fan of Demacia aggro decks in general. The only Demacia aggro deck I've played to date that I really love is the Kalista Lucian, and that's like a pseudo combo deck more so than a dedicated aggro deck. Yeah, this sounds good, right? Lucian on 2, Plaza on 3, Grizzled Ranger, pick 2 things off on 4. Maybe mulligan this, try and find a 1-drop. I have not played Draven Victor yet, no. For reference, on my youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland, absolutely everything that I play and stream ends up there. It's full stream archives on that channel. So if you ever have a question of, has Jeff played X, there'll be a video up there. Yeah, actually, tomorrow afternoon, Riot is hosting a small double elimination tournament for LPP members, and I'll be playing in that with a number of other Runeterra content creators. It's best of 3 pick ban. Myself and the other people playing in that will be streaming it tomorrow at noon PST, 2 p.m. Central. Okay, that's adorable. That's adorable. To the person I just timed out for saying Shyvana is bad, this isn't Reddit. If you want to post bullshit, go there. If you want to have a meaningful discussion about things that are good or bad or why, that's welcome here and we can talk about it. But just cards bad, that's just like lazy and unwelcome. Slow Bra, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. There's plenty of places on the internet you can scream into a void. This is not one of them.
Looking for trouble? It found you.
Just played my first game with Zoe Fizz. I had an attack on evens and my opponent scooped on turn 2 to Zoe Fizz attack. Are there any Freljord aggro decks? Or is the region not ideal for aggro decks? Twisted Fizz is a Freljord aggro deck, technically. And I've played before and I think is reasonable. Go ahead and play Brightsteel Protector out here. I want to use at least some of my mana this turn. What will my lineup be? Yeah, actually, speaking of the Zoe Fizz deck, I'm playing Zoe Fizz as one of my 3 decks. I think I'm playing Zoe Fizz, Swain, Leona, and probably Ezreal Elise. The Overwhelm decks would be considered aggressive decks, Pyhost. Think I need to play something else out here just so I don't take a ton of damage. This getting +1/+1 till end of turn means it doesn't die to Misfortune trigger, which is nice. And then I have the weapon hilt here to trade up into the Bugbear, which is great. So they're going to be left with just Misfortune, and Lucian can clean her up next turn.
Love you.
Hello, youngest son. How are your classes today? You know what is the last day of school before winter break? Do you know what winter break means? It means that you have 2 weeks with no school.
Alright, let's miss some food.
Unlock the door. That's not very nice.
I fight for the fallen.
Wow, that's good. That's rough. Well.
These hands know and magic.
Was that the game or the kids? That was the kids jumping around. Zen Harv and Slow Bra, if you're still here, thanks for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Why are we not running Radiant Guardian? Why should I run Radiant Guardian? What problem does my deck have that's solved by playing it? What cards should I cut? We are, unfortunately, 1 point of attack short of killing this with our challengers, because it's tough. The double Trouble Plaza is really, really sweet out of the opponent's deck.
Been a long path to get
Yeah, I think we're pretty dead. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap on this one. Riven continues to feel fine, okay, even good. I'm definitely not. I'm just not a fan of these Demacia aggro decks, like I've said. I think this build felt much better than the Quinn build we played yesterday. Lucian specifically being a cheap quick attack threat felt really good. That being said, the more I play with this card, someone asked a second ago why we're not playing Radiant Guardian, and to answer that question directly, I didn't build this deck to be a mid-range control deck, and the more I play with this card, this isn't really an aggressive card. This, while it makes your units slightly bigger, Challenger's a board control mechanic, right? So I don't think I'm gonna be trying to play Plaza anymore in decks that are super aggressive. Maybe outside of the asterisk of the Kalista Lucian like pseudo combo build, but in general, trying to play this card in a deck like this with like a really low curve, yeah, I think you'd need something specific like ephemerals or things that really want to die constantly, like something like Undying. But these kind of like fair Demacia aggro decks, Grand Plaza doesn't really feel like what I'm interested in doing in this style of deck. I agree that this card seems very good with Radiant Guardian, but once you're like in Plaza plus Radiant Guardian, I think your deck looks fundamentally different at that point. I don't know that that's necessarily bad. It's a very different direction to take the archetype in. But yeah, I think focusing on this card with something like Radiant Guardian in a bigger, more controlling shell, it could maybe even still involve Riven. Because like Scout, like this card's still good with this too. Captain Pharaon could still be top end, but in general, this card's felt lackluster with all of these cheaper aggressive threats that Demacia tends to play, and I think I'd rather see this card played out with more consistently bigger units. All right, we are going